Andy was looking to invest $75,000 for 3 years. He is looking at 3 different investment accounts. Account 1 pays 8.2% simple interest. Account 2, 8% compound interest, but this is compounded quarterly, and 8.2% compounded, this time annually. We want to calculate the amount of interest earned on all 3 accounts. So if we go for account 1 first, that's simple interest, and we know our formula for that is I is equal to P RT over 100. You may have a version without the 100, in which case you need to convert the R into a decimal. So we have 75,000 multiplied by the rate, which is 8.2, multiplied by the time, which is 3 years, and we'll divide that by 100. As I say, you don't have to use the 100, you could convert the 8.2 to a decimal. And let's see how much interest that gives us. So I need to just go back to main here, and so we'll just type that in. So that's 75,000 multiplied by 8.2 multiplied by 3, and we'll divide that by 100, and that's $18,450. Now for account 2. Now this one's compound interest. So we have the compound interest formula. So A is equal to the principal, then 1 plus the rate over 100n to the power of nt, where t is the number of time periods, n is the number of times we compound per year, r is the interest rate, and you can have a version without the 100 here, but you have to convert the rate to decimal first. So in this particular case, we invested 75,000, so that's the principal, and this is 8 for the interest rate. Now that's quarterly, which means 4 times a year. So that's going to be, n is going to be 4 down there, and then the power up here, we're doing it for 3 years, so that's going to be 4, the number of times we compound in a year, multiplied by 3, the number of years. So t is the number of years. So let's calculate that. So we have 75,000 multiplied by, open a bracket, 1 plus 8 over 100 times 4, and that is going to be to the power of, make sure you use a bracket here, 4 times 3. If it compounds quarterly in 3 years, then it's going to compound 12 times basically, and that gives us 95,118 and 13 cents. But remember, that's the total amount in the account. When we use this compound interest formula, it's the total amount. So the interest is going to be this amount, take away the amount we first invested. So what I need to do with that is take away the 75,000, and then that gives me 20,118 and 13 cents. Now finally for account 3, once again we're using the compound interest formula. And this time it's compounded annually, so n is equal to 1. It's still 3 years, so t is equal to 3. So that's 75,000. Now the rate this time is 8.2 over 100. And that's what I'm saying. You don't need the 100. You could just convert this one here into a decimal. And that's just going to be 3, the power, because n is equal to 1. So we can calculate that one. Let's just bring the calculator in. So we've got 75,000 multiplied by 1 add 8.2 over 100. Close that, and that's just to the power 3. And once again, remember that this is the total amount in the account. So the interest, we need to take away 75,000, the amount we originally put in. And that gives us $20,004.25. Now, of course, you have E-activities on your calculator, and this type of question is the perfect one to use them in. Now, it's harder to do E-activities on this desktop version of the calculator, but I think I might have been able to do it. So let's just go into here and see if we can actually open. So here's the simple interest. And if I click on solve, it'll probably give me the things. So there we are, I, P, R, and T. If I move this over here. So we know that the principal was 75,000. Our interest rate, notice how mine's set up PRT over 100. So the interest rate goes in as 8.2. If your version doesn't have the 100 on the bottom, you have to put it in as a decimal rather than as a percentage. And the time was 3 years. Make sure the I is selected, that's what we're solving for. And then we just click solve here, and it gives me 18,450. And then we can close that one. And if we decide that we want to open the compound interest, do the same thing. And there's all the various things here that we need to put in. So the principal was 75,000. I'll just do this one here. The rate for this one was 8. And the N in this particular case was 4 because it's 4 times a year. And T was 3. And click the solve at the top. And we get 95,118.13. Remember, that's the total amount in the account, and you have to take off the original investment to find the interest. So it's a perfect case of using your E-activities for this type of question. Which is the best option for him? Explain your choice. Well, he wants to make as much money as possible, and this one here makes the most interest, so he should go for account 2. So we need to identify account 2, and we need to give the reason, because he gets more interest from account 2. Now, even if you've got some of these figures wrong, as long as you go for the one of yours that has the most interest, you're going to get the marks here. Accounts 1 and 3 have the same interest rate per annum, both 8.2, but earn different amount of interest. Explain why. And we know here that compound interest earns interest on the total balance in the account, whereas simple interest only earns interest on what you actually invested in the first place, the principal. So compound interest is always going to give you a higher amount if the interest rates are the same.